Frank's gone, April's on her way, and I have got to get a little work done on the Scout, so stick around. Well, I'm doing a little spring cleaning. I put Frank on the plane this morning, and so the camper looks a little bit like two bachelors have been hanging out. So before my wife shows up, I thought I would do a little cleaning today, reorganizing. So doing a little walk around of the teardrop so you can kind of see what it's like. So this is the little guy 4, which means it is 4 foot wide. And I'll show you the inside. Don't blink or you'll miss the whole thing. So and your feet go back under there. And we have a couple cabinets up here that we can put items in. And my laptop fits pretty nice right there, so we can watch a movie once in a while. And we're nice enough to put rubber bumpers so you don't smash your shins in the middle of the night. If you look through there, you'll see a little light, and that is because your feet go right under here. So your feet are under this. And this is the kitchen, the galley. Pots and pans, food, paper towels, paper goods. Our grill, we don't put a lot of weight on that because it can fall down. I've got extra screws in it now. And there you go, that's the whole thing. We do have screen windows that'll open, and we have a vent on top that's been painted, spray painted black because of the daylight in Alaska. I do intend to put those wheels on that camper. And I think I might have to take the fender off and raise it up a little bit, but I don't think that'll be a problem. And then up front here, I have a storage box mounted on the front. And it's the kind that goes on the bed rail of your truck. And we keep all of our camping things in here, like axes and stools and rope, stuff like that. And when I get those tires swapped, then I will be taking that spare tire off. That'd be a little less weight than carrying down the road, because I have one up there that should fit everything, which is the goal. So there you go. That is the little guy 4 camper that we are going to pull from Alaska to Virginia. And now that you see the inside, you can understand why Frank and I were not quite close enough to sleep in there. So I slept in the back of the Scout every night. And I'm looking forward to stretching out tonight for a change. So. Hey there. So I'm just hanging out at the campground today. Frank's gone. My wife's coming in a couple of days. I have an appointment for Friday to have someone do the bearings and the seal on this side that's leaking, and we're just going to do them both. But today, while I'm at camp, I was doing a little maintenance and some other little things I've been wanting to try. I don't know if I've mentioned it before, I've got an issue with my Scout dieseling, running on after you turn the key off. And so I did a little float adjustment to see if I can correct that problem. I've messed with the timing and haven't been able to get it to quit. I have put seafoam down the carburetor, and that did help. And running a higher octane fuel helps, but it's still not fixing it. So I adjusted the float slightly, which seemed like that would be the next logical step. If you have any other ideas, let me know in the comments. I also work on putting a new lock on the camper door. Oh, forgot I locked it. It works, obviously. This one has a deadbolt. My camper only had a deadbolt on one side, so you couldn't lock it from the inside. But now you can. Got the deadbolt put on this side. What else have I done? Worked on the carburetor, float, and right now I'm in the middle of adjusting my steering. So my steering is pretty sloppy. You know, there's a lot of play in it. I think I have adjusted on the steering box, you know, last year just a little bit, and it helped minimally, but it did help a little. So getting on it today and messing with it, I realized that my problem is actually here in the linkage. There was lots of slop, so I've made an adjustment to at least make that better. Eventually I'll probably need a new linkage where the ball goes in. I'll show you. So my slop was in this linkage here. Over here was nice and tight, seems to be. I'm not messing with it yet. Leave it alone for now. But on this side, there's lots of movement. When I turn the drive shaft, there was lots of movement. Okay, now you don't see too much. It was right here in this ball connection off of the pitman arm. And when you would spin the steering, you would see lots of wiggle, a lot of wiggle on the pitman arm, and this would move it on for a bit. Now, I think I have it fixed, and this is what I did. I removed, I removed a cotter pin that was here and went through this. Okay, so I pulled that out. And then this is threaded in. And I had to put some penetrating oil on it, and a little bit of heat, angled down so it wouldn't set fire to my grease. And then I used this pry bar here and a vice grip, stuck it in that and spun it. And I have now turned it one full turn in. I think 1 or 1.5. I had videotaped before so you could have seen how much slop was in it. It was pretty impressive and slightly scary that I've been driving like that. So I turned it in, I think 1 or 1.5 turns. I would recommend not going too far. That is so there's a spring in there and the two things seat on that ball, and this screw that I adjusted drives that in and makes it a little tighter. Grease it good and monitor it after you do it. But for now it seems much tighter, and I'm very pleased with the results that I've gotten. So it was a good deck camp. And I think I might make myself some supper and work on a YouTube video while I have electricity right over there. Anyway, I paid for one with electricity for a couple of nights so I could get some videoing done. And if I have to stay in Anchorage, I might as well lay around and watch a movie or two. While I drive across town here, I thought it'd be an excellent time to just say thank you. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the channel and who has commented or asked questions. We really do love them. We also have an Instagram page and a Facebook page under the same name, and we answer questions there too. Plus there you get more real-time information about how the trip is going and when new videos are released. So check them out. But regardless, thank you very much for joining us on this journey. We really do appreciate it. And we hope to have many more of these videos out this summer. So let's get to it. So I just drove the Scout for the first time since adjusting the steering, and it is way better. It is so, I mean, I wouldn't call it tight, but it's way better than it was. So that should make it a little easier to get through, to get along. I'm also here at the AutoZone. I'm going to see if they have a voltage regulator to see if it might fix my, you know, amps meter just that pounds away at me while I drive. It's worth a shot. I don't think they're all that expensive. The last time when I picked up those semis, $25 or something. So we'll see if they have that. Maybe you could help me out. If you have a Scout, check your voltage regulator. You see that green wire there? It has never been plugged in on the voltage regulator, but there is a tab there for it. It seems possible and likely that's supposed to be. I can't really trace where it goes because of the coatings. So I'm not going to plug it up, and it doesn't seem to make any difference. But if you know what that is, why don't you put it in the comments and let me know. And just so you know, my new voltage regulator made no difference at all. Still dances 90% of the time. So maybe it's just the gauge. Or if you have any ideas, put them in the comments. The steering is much tighter than it was. I mean, it's practically a Tesla at this point. No, it's but it does work a whole lot better. If you have really sloppy steering, tightening that nut on the end of the whatever that is, drive link, I don't know. Getting gear. Made a big difference. So we're packed up this morning to go to have the Scout worked on. They're going to do the seals that's leaking and go ahead and replace the bearings while they're in there. So I got to run it over and drop it off this morning. And then we'll see what we can get into today. By the way, April made it in. She's got her Blevins road trip t-shirt on.
Yeah, babe, I do.
Woohoo! Nice. Except it has a Volkswagen thing on it because that's that other thing she has. All right. Anyway, let's go get the Scout fixed. So we're here in the waiting room at the shop where we're having the work done. And he's found a couple of things that we're going to have to address, and so he's just putting it back together for us. And in a week or so, we'll bring it back after he gets some parts. The back brakes are shot. They weren't so bad before in Bethel. But I also am not 100% sure that they were tight enough to even be working back then. And then when we hooked up, there's a little cable, and when we hooked it up, I think it's pulled them a little too tight, and they just wore through. And we need new wheel cylinders in the back. The front's good, but the back's not. And where I put the brakes on in the front myself, apparently I turned one around or something. Anyway, he's gonna fix that. He says no big deal, but he'll fix it. And there's a chance on one side, because I have an 80 front axle, the backing plate on the driver's side seems to be from an 800, but it has 80 brakes in it. It's weird. So he's figuring that out for me. We'll get her back together and we'll get on the road here. He's going to tighten them up, and I'll have brakes while we're driving around Anchorage in the area, but then we're going to come back here and have him fix all these little things. You know, going to a shop, crap happens. Good job, kiddo. So that's a guy falling. I just kept thinking, why do they have a picture of a guy laying in a yurt?
Good morning. Today we're going to drive up to Talkeetna and then maybe stay on the Denali Highway tonight, do a little boondocking there. And then I think we're going to go to Denali. Seems to be the plan at this point. We're trying to be a little flexible. We did an awful lot of hiking yesterday, but today we're going to do a little driving for a change. Well, we are near, not too far from Talkeetna, kind of between Talkeetna and Cantwell. We have a friend who has a cabin here, and she said that we can spend the night, so we are probably going to take her up on it. Her view is absolutely incredible. Tightening the bands so she can fill it up. She has an incredible view from here. Imagine that. Steaming hot tub, snow on the ground. Who am I talking?
Well, you just don't see that every day.
Today we are driving up towards Denali to the Denali Highway and camping with the kids.
We're at 149. I just saw one. much exciting.
Camp on the Denali Highway. We found a nice little off the beaten path trail and cruised down to find it. It's certainly, as my son Nolan said, literally in the middle of nowhere.
Take it real good. We're going to settle in here by the fire, have ourselves a nice quiet evening. At our next episode, we'll be headed down to the Kenai where we'll do some whale watching, see some bears, and camp downstream from a glacier. So be sure and take a second and subscribe to the channel, and we will see you out there on the road.